tattooing is probably I ended up staying tattooing late one night for a girl, and she had me do a tattoo in a different language. At first it was all chill, cool, whatever, and then she started getting like weirder throughout the night. She started FaceTiming her boyfriend who was like in Africa at the time, and then they started getting very sexual while I was tattooing them. I had to cut that tattoo short because I just felt so uncomfortable, and it was only me and her at night, and I was like, you know what? Let's do this when there's more people around because this is making me feel really awkward and weird.
One time we had this guy come in, he was like dressed like all like fancy, and he came in and he was asking for like perfume, like where to get perfume and cologne because he was about to get married. He came in the next day, it was just really weird, and he kept on coming in like consecutive days, but dressed in different like attire. Like the next day he was like all cowboy, and then the next day he was like all gangster, but then he came in and his girlfriend was sitting outside on the curb, and she was like passing out, like she was like overdosing, and then he brought her inside, and like she fell asleep like on the couch and everything, and he had to get like a little cross tattoo because him and his wife just saw Jesus last night, and they needed to be saved, and the only way to save them was to get a cross tattoo. So, but then like she was passed out on the couch and we couldn't get her up, so like the whole ambulance had to come and like, oh, and then he came in the next day with a big bag of weed, and he's like, hey, Jesus said that you could take what you needed from this bag. Take your time.
Crazy. I've been tattooed for about 10 years. Anything that was really crazy, the wildest one I have to say, is when I had a dude grow up. Now people were saying, oh, that's not a big deal, this, that, and the other. But when I was tattooing him, I would put a line on him and then I'd wipe the stencil just to wipe the ink off, and I noticed a lot more of the stencil was coming off than usual. So now I'm noticing, I look at his arm, I see beads of sweat, and then I look at him, he's pale, he's sweating, and he got locks. So I was like, you know what, hold on, let's take a minute, let me go get you some water, whatever, it's cool. Now granted, I did tell him that in order to tattoo not to feel so bad, get you something to eat light, whatever, so you can feel good and get through the tattoo. As I'm going to the back, I hear a big splash. So I'm like, okay, maybe he knocked over a cup of water or something, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Next thing you know, I come back up front, the man had projectile vomiting and threw up all over a brand new wall of drawings that I just had. So therefore, and then I saw what he had for lunch. He had fruit punch and chicken salad. Why? Because some stuff was all over my wall. So I was like, okay, he was lucky. He was the son of a friend of mine that came to get the tattoo. Of course, I handed him the mop and he had to clean that up, so.
Don't like, and what I won't do is summertime and feet tattoo. That's my hot take. Wash yourself. That's all you gotta do. You get people coming in stinking, dirty. Like I hate guys that come in straight off the construction like, dude, did you not like go home? That's just, no, you can't do that. Clean up. Hygiene.
The tattooing industry is very macho, and I feel like kind of fine line, wireless machines, dainty tattoos get looked down on a little bit. And I think that, everybody's style is their own business and it's all equal and valid.
My hot take on tattooing is I fucking hate stick and poke. For some reason, I can't tolerate it. There's no point to them. Like, they don't last as long. They hurt a lot more because you're doing poke by poke. This is not to be confused with like indigenous or like traditional work and stick and poke, but like I'm talking like DIY basement stick and poke. I don't know why that just irritates me. I'd rather you do it with a machine and do a DIY machine tattoo than do a stick and poke.
There was a stigma with a lot of, they would say, quote unquote, degenerates would be the only people that get tattoos. But me being in the military, I've seen E5s, E6, E9s, and officers that are fully suited, but they're able to hide it under the suit, under the uniforms. The biggest misconception I'd have to say is that tattoos are accepted. You don't have to be an idiot. You're not a bad person. I've seen some top-notch people, some rich people, some people that have achieved a lot in life and get tattoos because those things are meaningful to them. So as far as any types of misconceptions, there's so many, but just to say that the stigmas and the misconceptions about tattoos, if anybody has them, let them go. It's a new day, it's a new year, everybody's getting them. You may even have an HR person that's interviewing you that may say something about the tattoo, and the next thing you know, she got a full bodysuit that's gonna blast you about the one that you got on your body so you can't get the job. But yeah, the misconceptions and all that, anything that anybody thinks negatively about it, stop thinking it. It's the wave of the future.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that getting a tattoo is going to be a huge, painful event, when really, if you have a good artist, you can kind of stay comfortable and it's really not going to be like the worst moment of your whole life.
My biggest pet peeves on tattoos is throat tats, dead center throat tats. If you're not built for it, don't do it. especially if you're a skinny, no meat, 100-pound soaking wet type of person. Don't do it. That's like the number one thing that I hate doing. Throw tats right down the center. Can't do it.
I think my biggest pet peeve when it comes to what I do, which is tooth gyms, is if I'm gonna do all this work and you're not gonna take care of them and they're gonna fall off because of something you're doing, that's not on me.
2023, tramp stamps coming back.
Artist that quote unquote doesn't look like you, be accepting that saying, hey, maybe that person, I'll be honest with you, doesn't have maybe the same skin tone as you, but they might be an excellent artist. Don't draw that line in the sand because they quote unquote don't look like you, because you might be going over a gem that somebody could possibly hook you up with some really dope work. Look at everyone, no matter who they are, no matter how they speak. Even if that person speaks like 2 words in English, they could probably hit you with some of the illest work that you've ever seen in your life. So don't take people for granted. Don't judge a book by its cover when it comes to the tattooing. Look at what everybody has to offer, and you should never get a bad tattoo. As much as we got with technology, I was just talking to him about that. You got the whole world in your hand with that cell phone. You shouldn't be getting a bad tattoo, and look at all artists from all walks of life.
I had a group of 3 ex-Amish mothers talking about how I was as old as their son, but then going on to say about how they anal play with each other and their husbands. And then going back and forth saying like, oh, you're like my son's age. And then giving me like in-depth detail, like this is how I like train my butthole.